What's up, Take It or Leave It listeners? I'm Nick Farrington. We have Ethan Wise behind the camera. We're the co-hosts of the Take It or Leave It podcast. We're out here at a park outside of St. Louis, and we were out here looking at some of these perennial hibiscus and happened to notice on them some of these guys, some Japanese beetles. There they are right there. There's another one down in here trying to get at the flower. And you can see where they've just absolutely chewed up this leaf. Over here we have some of their classic damage on this rose. Here they are munching away, and they kind of skeletonize these leaves in between the veins. And the Japanese beetles, they're an invasive insect. They tend to eat on roses, a lot of other ornamentals, anything that fruits. Their diet, as they've been around for more and more years in the US, their diet has also expanded to quite a few other plants, Japanese maples, you name it. Things that have a more burgundy leaf they like as well. And so what they do is they cause pretty significant damage to the foliage of plants. Linden trees are a huge host plant for them. You could see them defoliate almost a whole entire tree. But because they come out towards the end of June, July, in that time frame, depending on what zone you're in, they emerge from the ground. Their larva is the grub, which tends to cause a lot of brown patching and damage in
that
turf
big
grass.
white grub, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what those come from, and they emerge in summer. So since they're coming out later in the year, even though they're causing significant foliar damage to the plants, it's usually more cosmetic unless that plant or that tree has a pretty significant other health issue going on. But nonetheless, pretty significant visual damage that they can cause. And what we've seen in the Midwest, back 5 years ago or so, you could look up in summer and just about see them in the sky as a backdrop at the nursery we used to work at in Peoria, for example.
Yeah, 2017. If you touch this rose like this, you would have seen a cloud.
Yes,
Ugh.
definitely. And so what we've seen is they're actually coming more from the eastern U.S. They moved through the Midwest, and they started to move out to the West Coast.
Rockies, look out.
Yeah. When I was out in Colorado running landscape crews back in 2016, we had just started to see some out there. And so part of the theory is that they're maybe moving towards the Rockies, and there's some potential that once they reach that area, because the environment in the mountains is going to be so extreme in the winters, that those grubs might not be able to survive, and that might help to decrease their population. It is also possible that once they reach that physical barrier of the mountains, they might turn around and start to migrate back east. So hard to say, but at least for in the Midwest, they've definitely decreased in numbers quite a bit in the last few years as compared to 5-10 years ago. There are a lot of different chemical options you can use to spray on them, usually a contact spray. We usually recommend something more on the organic end, especially if it's something in your garden. They love to attack berries and grapes, all those sorts of things. I've even seen them in the foliage of asparagus plants. Anything like your pyrethrins or insecticidal soap, those are good options. Again, a contact spray is best. If you see them, you spray those directly on them. You usually see them drop pretty quickly. We do recommend to spray that early in the morning or in the evening so that you're not also impacting your beneficial pollinators.
If you choose to use a systemic, you will also be harming this poor little bee here that is trying to...
a little pet.
There we go. Look at that little cutie guy. Look at that guy.
Cool guy. We do talk more about that, especially with pesticide use in our misconceptions about bees episode, as well as our kind of 2-part episode about pest management in the garden. There's lots more information there, more detailed information about chemicals you can use to help treat those. But yeah, that's the main thing with Japanese beetles. If you do see the Japanese beetle bags as a beetle trap to get rid of them in your garden, The best application for that is to put it in your neighbor's yard.
Yes.
Because what they have found is that the attractant that they use to catch the beetles, so they fall down in the bag to kill the beetles, it tends to draw in more than you would have already had.
Correct.
So we always joke to put one in your neighbor's yard, not your own yard, because you'll end up drawing in even more beetles than were already around.
Yes. Yeah, Japanese beetle bags might, if you have a small yard, I don't even recommend them at all. They have two lures. They have a sex lure and a food lure. So these pheromones that specifically let other beetles know, hey, there's food and sex here. So you are bringing in a huge demographic of beetles, and your plants are just going to get annihilated. Well, Nick, thank you for the information. That was great. Until next time.
And we are, again, on takeitOrLeafItPod.com. That's where all of our socials are, links to the show, Acast, our Patreon page if you want to support the channel. And until then, we'll see you guys next time.